No,
Last night I was going through this
Yeah.
step by step, so it's the only reason I remember.
been a while since I've done it, so.
Wow. We need to get everybody to come.
That's live, and there you go.
Very good. Thank you. Everybody's coming. You're on.
All right, this is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Bangor Parks Recreation and Harbor Advisory Committee for July 11th. I'm Chair Ryan Robbins, and we will go to my left.
Tracy Willett, Parks and Recreation Director.
Benjamin Arruda, City of Bangor Forestry Manager. William Warner, Committee Member.
Aaron Tutoring, Public Works Director.
John Hyatt, committee member.
Michaela Pelkey, committee member. Debbie Gendro, Assistant Parks and Recreation Director.
And the first thing is we've got minutes from March and April to approve. You remember March's meetings, minutes weren't ready.
Oh, yes, you're right. It's too much.
She's in charge of those. I'll talk to her.
So I have a copy of the minutes down.
Which ones you need?
Both.
Both?
Many.
There's an April. And. But enough Marches? Marches should be around somewhere.
Also, I've got March here, they're just.
Oh, okay.
A bunch of marches over.
Oh, they might be under here. Look at that. They say March on them.
Thank you.
This is really an organized group, man. It really is.
Seems like it was just yesterday.
It does, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Just like,
Time flies when you're having fun.
it certainly does. Certainly does.
Do we, correct misspellings?
That's why we present them to you.
Forest in April has 2 R's and, obviously it has 1.
Type O's, where's my original?
It wasn't a person's name though, was it, Ryan? Because it could have two. Right.
You forget names again too?
Yeah, I know, my great grandfather's name was Forrest.
Which ones you looking at?
April,
April.
food program. City Forest.
Do you get the public works director's name spelled right?
I don't know.
I don't know. He'll speak up if we didn't.
I haven't seen them.
Where are you looking? I'm sorry.
And then we've got Kittredge is with an E, not an I on the second line.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm gonna see all of Ryan's issues. here. Need a motion to accept.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Motion to accept.
You got a second? Second. Okay. You have an objection? You're approved. Okay, first real item on the agenda, walking trail concept.
City Forester Ben Aru's gonna kind of walk through concept within. I believe the public works director has handouts.
Yeah, I can share.
Yeah, we only need one. Yeah. Get one right there. Thank you.
Want to introduce yourself? I am good.
What's that?
Want to introduce yourself? We've already done it.
Oh, sure, yeah, Rich Trot, live here in Bangor, born and raised. Been part of the committee for 2 years now, I think, so. Sorry, I'm late.
You're good, you're good, you're good.
You're here.
Yes, sir.
All right, so the forestry department has been doing some discovery with interns on potentially vacant city properties that could be reinvigorated, and we came upon a parcel in Judson Heights that is maintained by Parks and Rec, dually with Public Works as far as mowing and light maintenance like that. So I currently have 4 interns working with me from the University of Maine forestry program, 2 master's interns, and then 2 undergraduate interns. The undergraduates and myself took a look at this parcel in Judson Heights for the potential to reinvigorate it and better maintain it and kind of transfer it from just a vacant open space to a more usable kind of neighborhood green area. And this is still in the very early stages, and we've done some mapping and things of that nature. So the project goal is to create a small neighborhood trail, some native pollinators that have been planted with various groups throughout the community, and then have an accessible walking trail throughout this small parcel. I believe it's only 3.3 acres, so the walking trail would be 36 to 48 inches wide. We would grub it out and then underlay the walking trail with filter fabric and follow best management practices to avoid siltation, as there is wet areas along the property boundaries. And also within that, we, as the forestry division, would like to start using some of the urban wood that we get dropped off at Public Works. And in that, we would like to mill out and measure sections that would be log bridges, and then reuse some of that municipal wood that would just be chipped and disposed of otherwise, and turn it into more formal log bridges like you see in some of the other city maintained properties. Some of the steps that we would need to take in order to have this happen is there's several invasive species that are present on this property, and if they're left uncontrolled, they would have a tendency to take over the grassland that's existing there. Those species are glossy and common buckthorn, more native but still invasive staghorn sumac, and then also a smaller component is Virginia creeper throughout the woods. But then also in the wooded areas, we would get rid of the dead hazard trees and kind of do some light thinning to improve the aesthetics of the declining forest that's there.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
As some of you know, we've discussed this parcel for a number of years for a variety of uses. And have had feedback from different neighbors about different ideas for its use that range all over, including do nothing. This concept kind of starts us down the path, has been alluded to, of trying to start to develop something there that it doesn't become completely contrary to what some of the neighbors are looking for, but yet tries to kind of meet in the middle of some of the ideas that we've kicked around over the years for the parcel. So for those of you that may not be familiar with what we're talking about, and correct me if I misspeak around the table, this is a vacant parcel that's up in Judson Heights, as Ben's information shared with you specifically. It's to the right of, on the right side of Judson Boulevard. Is that still Judson Boulevard? As you head up into, we'll call it Birchill Estates, and is that still?
It's still Birchill Estates, yeah.
Yep. It's been in city hands for a number of years now, and it was part of the original development up in Judson Heights. So we asked Aaron and Ben to come here tonight to kind of share this idea with you and get feedback from you all. Certainly some of you have more of a vested interest in it than others. Just putting it right out there for discussion. And I don't think, we've had this discussion before at different times through the years on this property. So Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Within that parcel, we would also kind of look at the feasibility of grubbing out and smoothing a flat area where people. That could be, mowed shorter than the rest of the green space, somewhere to have a little picnic or throw a baseball, something of that nature.
Is this gonna connect at all, or is it like the connection is the road?
The connection could be the road.
Yeah.
I've looked at the middle section. The middle section is very wet. So a crossover trail would not be possible. But we could certainly do a connection along the road at a trail parallel to the road. That's certainly feasible. The soil's well drained. So
How big is the parcel itself?
I think it's 3.3 acres.
Okay.
And on here, sorry for asking so many questions. I love the concept of using the urban wood for bog bridges and stuff. Where is that on here?
So on there, if you see the parcel that has a pool in the backyard.
Oh, yeah.
Along that wooded section there's multiple, they're called like ephemeral flows. They're only active in springtime. So that would be where we would bridge over and
Yeah.
kind of avoid disturbing the soil and native plants.
And what's the distance? Do you think about that?
I believe that distance is probably be jumping certain sections.
Yeah.
Less than 100 feet linear total.
Nice.
Is there parking in here? Well, where would the parking?
It's more for the neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There could be, and parking will come up, and certainly that's a concern that we've heard over the years when, from some of the neighbors, when we even kick around the idea of something over there. There's certainly be an opportunity for, like a curb cut, street side, parallel parking, similar to what we do, at Broadway Park, near the shelter. And recently we've done at, Little City, where we can do, so essentially create a curbside parking area that cars can get entirely off the street. But I think as Deb has mentioned, this certainly would serve more of a neighborhood purpose than be a destination, and it kind of balances, at least we think, with this newest concept. The thought of creating a recreational area, but yet maintaining some of the natural attributes and encouraging some of the natural attributes of the more of the backside of the parcel. Is that fair?
Yes.
How big is the recreational area approximately? Say
Approximately, I believe it is 100 rough dimensions, 100 by 45.
100 by 40 then?
Yes,
And how long is the trail?
the trail is just under a quarter of a mile.
That if we connect it by the road or,
That is without an existing connection.
okay, so if we brought it down the road, you'd exceed quarter mile, probably. Or be right at,
Right,
yeah.
which would be nice.
Are there any wetland concerns?
Just in the interior, if you look at the aerial image, there's a section that has, it appears as dead grass that is somewhat boggy, loose, poorly drained soil, but it is not a wetland classification that's of any, natural interest.
How wide would the gravel trail be?
36 to 48 inches.
That would be accessible in the winter time as well.
Yes.
So not cleared.
Right. No, not clear, yeah.
I was leaving it open-ended on purpose.
Snowshoeing.
You're not gonna go in for skiing.
We don't.
Yeah, I don't know, we can transport the rumor out there. And hey, if we get enough snow and enough demand, you never know, but,
Sometimes people just do it themselves.
some people just cut their own trails.
So is this like the first step to see the temperature of the neighborhood and determine if there's potential for a more recreational area?
This is the first step, Rich, you're absolutely right. As some of you know, they've been out there before to look at this and generate some attention. I got a call recently 2 weeks ago about what's going on out there. I think this is, it seems to me, to us, more of a balance of some of the things that we've heard over the years out there. creates that open space in the front and still maintain some natural attributes. I think once we start doing a little rubbing over there, it's gonna create a little more attention.
Mhm.
Certainly we can have a discussion here internally if it should go to another committee. I don't know if we've gone that far yet. I asked Aaron and Ben to be here tonight to at least get the temperature of you folks. And it's something that we can certainly use as we go forward. I don't see this. It's a little different than what we've tried to suggest out there before. I'm focusing on you because I know we've been out there before and you're out there. You have the feel of the neighborhood out there as much as anybody. I don't know if anybody else lives out there.
I was just there today, but no.
What's that?
I don't live there. I was just visiting that area today though.
Again, my opinion is that it just seems to be that balance of what we've heard over the years out there. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, well, as you know, my contention is that the reward or the benefit to the area, it, you know, far outweighs, in my mind, the couple of people that might have a derogatory opinion of that project. But the reality of it is, as the comprehensive plan laid out, is that that area has a high density and there is no public or area for any of the kids in that entire neighborhood, which is probably one of the bigger neighborhoods in Bangor.
Agreed. No, it's
So
the
I
comp
think
plan and
it's,
our master plan identified that area as well. So.
yeah, so I think it's a no brainer, and obviously I'm a little biased, but is there any accommodation for clearing along the road? Cause that can become a bit of a blind corner, you know, cars coming around that corner if there's kids or.
Yes, I
You know,
believe,
to be aware of the fact that there is people there playing when and we're
Recreation
walking
area,
on
yeah.
that side of this road, you know, can be
Yep.
a little blind, so.
yeah, the placement of that curb cut would be on the best sight lines. Based on the speed limits to maintain, you know.
Some of the sumacs in the front, isn't it?
I was gonna
Yes.
say, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
what you're
just go back
talking
and
about.
forth.
That would come out, so.
And that patch of red you see on the map is that dense pocket of sumac. And if you go back and look at Google Maps, it was one stem, the last round of imagery capture, which I think was 2019, so that's how fast even a native invasive species can take over, so.
Would the recreation area have playground equipment?
Not in this concept, and Rich is correct, both in the comp plan and our master plan, this identified this area and this part of the city as. Not really having any sort of public park space. I believe the closest public park space is probably Bangor Gardens.
Yeah.
But this concept would not. And as I've shared already, at least this was kind of that first step to getting something done out there. It will generate some feedback, I suspect. But if it's a thumbs up from you folks here tonight, and if there's concerns one way or the other, that's what we'd like to hear tonight.
What's the difference in elevation
Um,
from one end to the other?
very flat. As you get towards the back, I would say the drop from the front of the property to the back would be less than 15
Yeah.
vertical feet. So it's very, very flat.
And why the shape and size of the recreation area? Why not bigger, longer, twice as long?
That was just how we laid it out initially. Didn't want to go too big initially. There is through the middle, an underground gas
There's a
pipeline
gas
that is
pipeline, yeah.
marked.
I think in the front, I don't think there's anything that prevents that from being expanded.
Because just me looking at it thinking, well, that's a fun place to play, but wouldn't it be twice as fun if it was twice as big?
Well, that's what we're kind of looking for from you all. I mean, that's.
Because it, like when you said throwing a baseball, but I'm looking at it in comparison to the size of that house, it's the same size as the house across the street.
Yes.
Right.
And that's not really, I mean, that perhaps that's a gigantic house, but
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like a very big space to play.
And
Especially
within
more
this
than one
map,
family
Right.
wants to play.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
that?
and within this map, there is some amount of GPS error because the shapes were traced using a tablet
Mhm.
versus a.
So it seems like might be nice to just go
Do it
from
now.
end to end. I mean,
Well, I think the original
Four.
discussion
Yes.
we
Yeah.
had wasn't so much, we were trying to avoid making it just into another big open field of mowed grass. Trying to
Mhm.
have a little bit more, and I think we
Yeah.
talked about maybe some signs, talking about the natural features and that type of thing, but I think there's a lot of room for
Yeah, cause
expansion
like
there and
what
still
is
maintain.
there now? Like, can someone walk through there or is it a bunch of like prickly weeds and,
Nope, it's all just tall grass.
okay.
You've been bush hogging that the last couple of
Yep,
years.
yep.
Is that gonna be continued?
Yes.
To be bush hogged?
Yep.
So can you play in that space right now?
No,
Because,
not at all.
It's not really usable for that right now.
but
Yeah.
what, so it also would not, that would also continue to not be usable space.
I think the concept he's just shared with you a few minutes ago was that that would be the goal, to create that recreational space, flatten it out, level it as needed.
I think some of that, what you're talking about expanding into was gonna be like pollinators,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
plantings, that type of thing.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean that that can't be expanded for the play area and then pollinators planted behind it. You know, I think there's a lot of options. there.
So what you guys are saying, probably a little bigger.
Probably makes sense also with
Yeah.
that neighborhood, you know, it's probably
I mean,
a
if
lot
you
of
have that many
families. and,
families, you
know,
can't
yeah.
fit very many people on that,
Well,
that patch.
and that would just be an open play area, there wouldn't be any playground equipment or,
Not currently planned, no, not currently planned.
So that would be leveled, filled in to some degree, loam seeded, et
Yes.
cetera.
Yep.
Yeah, because I do know that center there is a little lower.
Yeah.
If it did get to the point where there was some fill opportunities to start to put that in, is there any wetland recourse mitigation, et cetera, that would need to happen to make that a reality?
I don't see any statewide classifications that show it as protected. However, you know, you always want to take a precaution and reach out to a higher authority as far as like DEP for filling in a wetland. But towards the edge, the northern section, that is a true forested wetland. There's, you know, cedar trees and things of that nature. Where we have the recreation area is dry and it would just be a cut and fill. There's no wetland other than, you know, springtime having poorly drained soil and stuff of that nature.
I don't think we've had Rich out there yet, have we? Rich May?
No.
No. And of course, so the city has an in-house environmental. Well, that can kind of at least guide us if indeed there's mitigation issues we have out there. Or you could, next step, is have Rich take a walk with us.
Is there any tree, there's some miscellaneous trees in the middle there and sporadically placed in and around the bush hogged area, is
Mhm.
there? Would those be taken as well? Some of them are dead, some of them are still growing, I guess.
Just the dead and declining trees, and then we would improve kind of the stand structure and leave the native trees that are coming up and out, because what's there now is considered a pioneer forest. So I imagine when this was originally subdivided, it was clear cut. So what you're getting back now are aspens and maples, kind of your shade intolerant species.
What's the timeline for something like this?
So I was gonna say the same thing. So from here, if indeed we want to move forward, we think in fall. Could be the earliest we could start.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, okay. I mean, it depends on like what Rich says.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot of it, yeah, just so
If we're just talking about putting in a trail, you know what I mean, clearing it, putting in a trail, putting in the flat spot for a recreation area, I think that's pretty doable.
Yeah.
But when we start getting into a lot more detail, then
Fair, no, it's fair.
Will there have to be any public information sessions or with the neighborhood or?
So we'll make sure we're clear and. Because what we don't want is, after the fact. So we'll make sure that, yes, from here. Couple parallel things, we'll put the word out that here's what we're proposing, this is reviewed by the Parks and Recreation and Harbor Advisory Committee. We'll have Rich come out in the meantime and put a fall timeline to it. To your point, Rich, yeah, there's certainly. the demographic and the makeup of the neighborhood. And our common master plan have indicated that this area is a underserved need in public space. So this is probably the time to start to change that a little bit out there. Did that answer your question?
So Ben, looking at this, answering some of their questions about wanting to try to make it double maybe.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You'd have to look into moving the trail. So that would need to be
Just
done,
flip- Like if you just folded it
Just-
over, just
Yeah.
like double it lengthwise.
you know, a little bit just on that area here.
Was up there.
Yeah. So just looking at that before and then seeing what can happen.
I'm being cautious what I asked for because I'm really excited about this, obviously, so asking for more and more, but I think there's a lot of potential there, and I
Yeah.
think if. This goes well and the community opinion is good and we're checking the wetland boxes and et cetera. Is there a timeline in the next 2 or 3 years where that is expanded, obviously not commitment, but. Where that can
Absolutely.
be accelerated,
Absolutely, anything's possible. I mean, once,
yeah.
I think you're right. Let's float this out and see how it goes. It's gonna be a little bit of, what are you doing? But I think, again, we balanced some of the opinions we've heard from those who've been out there for a number of years with the newer population that's out there. So there's a balance of recreational opportunities with keeping some of the natural attributes. And there's plenty of space to expand out there as time goes on. And so, to your point, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. At the end of the day, we're not out a whole, other than time and materials, we're not out a whole lot. For a minimal amount of investment, both time and materials, I think this concept will make a pretty good change out there.
Yeah.
And create a pretty good opportunity.
And the only reason I'm bringing that up, and you well know, because we've talked
Yes.
about it extensively, and I'm beating my drum for a couple of years now, but. Is that I still think that there is an opportunity for some of that excess fill.
Yep.
From the interstate job,
Yep.
meaning our window to potentially do more is closing within the next 12 months. So. In lieu of expanding it in stages or saying, hey, we've got an opportunity to make this extremely cost effective to do way more space. 2x, 3x the space at a very nominal cost. Is that a better serve to the community, knowing that the cost is. A fraction of it would be had we do wait another year to expand it, so that would be my only. Cause I agree, I mean, get the pulse, get the feel, but at the same time, we've got an incredible opportunity to do way more at a. Extremely reasonable price to the community too, so. that was-
No, I agree.
part of it,
I agree.
yeah.
No, I get it.
So,
I get it.
and I don't know if you had ever reached out to. Whitmore on that and the excess, I think
It's
there
been a
was,
while, but
there was
yeah.
some opportunity
it's
there,
been
and
a
that
while.
project's delayed. Which is, but anyways, I'm complicating this and I don't want to do that, so.
No, you're good. No,
I
you're good.
just,
You're
you know,
good.
I think there's some opportunity
Yeah,
there.
I agree. Very well could be.
Ask for permission in stages or just.
So I will share with you that. That sounds great when you first say it, and then sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
So it sounds like, if I can read the room, that this looks like a good idea to everybody.
I mean, selfishly, if you want to remove Sumac and Buckthorn anywhere else, as a resident of Bangor as well would be interested.
If
but
you're in the
yes,
neighborhood.
Exactly. I think it's a great idea.
And just to give a point of reference, if anyone knows about the Arboretum at City Forest, that's about 5 acres. So this would be a little bit more than half.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Before we take off, may I give an update just on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I said,
So we're,
not in charge.
the students, I know. I was looking at him, not you.
Yeah, fair.
No, so I had talked, was it April? I think I spoke to the group. We had the students coming in to do a tree inventory, and they started in May and they just completed a complete inventory of all street trees, but more importantly to you folks, all urban park trees. So, and that includes schools, the parks, all
cemeteries.
roadways, cemeteries. So yeah, incredible work by these 4 University of Maine students to get all that done. They're crunching through the data now. They've received access to our GIS database. The 2 master students are crunching through that. And then again, on top of that, using that data to create an Emerald Ash Borer plan, which I had spoken about earlier as well. They spoke to the tree board last night, did a great presentation. You can watch on YouTube if you want, but I'm very, very happy with the work that they're doing. Now that the master students are working on that data verification, the 2 undergraduates have moved out to the city forest. They've located 20 out of 21 parcels, I think, out there.
30 out of 31.
30 out of 31 of the original pilot parcels, or I don't know what to call them.
Continuous forest inventory plots.
Okay, there you go. 30 out of 31 plots. So they're moving on with that plan to follow through with the city forest management plan that will include some selective harvesting, including putting together educational materials that we'll share with the public as that starts to happen. So couldn't be more pleased with this collaboration with the University of Maine and these students, what they're doing with us.
That's awesome.
Did
Yeah.
they find any evidence of the Emerald Ash Borer?
Yeah, so actually the last student that came on in stages as they freed up for the summer, the last student was getting a tour from Ben and stopped to look at a tree with some blonding and found D-shaped holes. Reported it to Maine Forest Service. They came over, did not find the tunneling underneath the bark, but they did take the tree, the branch that had the D-shaped holes away with them. They say that it's not a verified sighting, but if you saw it for yourself, it'd be hard to believe it was anything but. So they did coincidentally put up some traps to try to attract them, and we have some on order that we're going to be putting up around the city. One of the master students has reached out to Dr. Stewart at the science department, and she is setting up another student project like they did with the compost last year and the birch leaf disease to study emerald ash borer, do some of the trapping, and we're trying to get some reporting for number one, if potential sightings of emerald ash borer. Number 2, our inventory only includes public trees. It doesn't include any private trees. So we're gonna try to set up on the C-Click fix an opportunity for residents to self-report the ash trees so that we can get a better idea of what the impact on residents might be. And we think that's gonna be significant. So, yeah, lots of good stuff happening, both with the University of Maine students, but also already moving into the high school. So we love those kinds of collaborations.
Another question about parks and stuff. How's the brown tail moth? Caterpillar.
So the
situation?
treatments this year were very effective, very effective. We still don't fully understand, and I actually posed this as a potential project when on the Bangor High School department reached out to me. Some trees are taking it up better than others, the pesticide treatment, and I'm not sure exactly why. And I think there's just a lot of variability. Not every tree is exactly the same. But overall, the 31 trees that were treated were very responsive. I actually, at the end of the park treatments, I did a tree at Public Works that had previously not been treated. I have a picture from last year on, I think, June 14th. And the tree is just completely defoliated by these. And this year after the treatment, it's a full vibrant tree. Just the treatments are really making a difference. So, yeah, that was good. In addition to that, even though it was really rainy last year, the rain and then sun and then rain and then sun this year helped the entomophagia, whatever fungus, really proliferate. And we saw die off all over the city, not just with brown tail moth, but also with like eastern tent. So it attacks all caterpillars equally. So we really saw widespread evidence of that, which I think really might have affected the population, and the Maine Forest Service saw it statewide. So that's a good thing. In addition, I was down on the waterfront taking some pictures of trees or brown tail moth, and there was a parasitic wasp moving from cocoon to cocoon. They were just going into cocoon stage, and it wasn't landing anywhere except on cocoon. So I'm thinking, and there are parasitic wasps that specifically attack caterpillars. So I'm thinking this might have been a good year for them. Maine Forest Service, about a week after I saw that, noted that they were seeing them around the state as well. So maybe we've got, you know,
They attack the brown tail moth caterpillar.
they,
cocoons?
yeah, they lay their eggs
Yes,
in the
they lay their
caterpillar.
larva in the cocoons and then their larva consumes the larva of
The brown tail moth.
tail.
Yeah.
Great.
So, you know, you have a couple things coming together. One season will never collapse the population, but you string a few of these together, we might actually see them push back to the south again. Fingers crossed. Yeah.
And in my neighborhood on Hudson Avenue, we had tons of those caterpillars last year, but I've only seen probably not even half as many.
So we got our first report of adult moths on Monday through the SeaClick Fix app, and then I found 2 outside our building on Tuesday, 1 on Wednesday. So the moths are hatching. This is the point where I think it was 3 years ago. Gas pumps were just covered with these white moths every morning and sides of buildings. And this is the point where we can start to compare. This last year I have pictures. And it was nowhere near what it was the previous year. So I'm hoping this year we only see spotty, and it would really be an indication that the population started to die off. So, yeah. Yeah, optimistic. And the nice thing, not to keep dragging this out, but the nice thing about these treatments that Tracy is doing in the parks, it's the exact same treatment that we will do for emerald ash borer to save these important ash trees. And that's what one of the students held up a list of trees that she felt met that criteria that we may want to preserve them. And she's going out to verify the condition of them, because you have to treat them before anything is here, you know, and once they get infected, it's very tough to have that treatment work. So yeah, what we're learning from brown tail, I think is going to be very helpful as we move into treating for emerald ash borer.
Anything else for him?
I did think the compost program was very nice. Thank you.
What's that?
The
Oh, the
compost.
compost?
Yeah, very
Good.
nice. Thank you.
And we will, we hope to continue that and keep giving it away. Residents, the feedback from residents was incredibly positive. We don't always get that kind of positive feedback on our work. So, yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you for coming.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks
guys.
for inviting us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Next,
Pools.
pool.
And while Ben's walking out, these guys helped dig and pull with all the trees around the whole pool area. So thank you so much for everything you did. All right, so pool season, our 2 pools, Beth Panko Pool and Dakin Pool, opened for the season, opened in June, June 26th. Couple pools around the area opened up a little earlier, but we need a lot more staff, and we had a lot of new staff this year, and most of them were high schoolers, and high school didn't get out till the week before, and we have training to do. So we actually have 24 staff this year. It sounds like a lot, but it's still not enough to run both pools at full capacity. Most of the time we are. Actually, it was only 4th of July week right now that we didn't have enough, and we had to shut down each pool one day. That's it. But besides that, we've been getting by with the 24 pool staff means we have 20 lifeguards and 4 pool aides, and pool aides, they're the ones that help out with the cash register and at the top of slide tower, so they don't need to be lifeguard certified. So we always have about 3 or 4 of them, and it helps out tremendously not having to find certified lifeguards for that. But we have 20. Out of the 20, there is over 15 that are new, and we were struggling until the end of the season, and luckily the Bangor Y luckily put another class together at the last minute, which was wonderful, because we had 5 or 6 staff that we had actually started training them at Parks and Rec in hopes that they would pass. And most of them did, a couple didn't, and a couple did back out. of the training, but we did get some good hires out of that last training. So we are open this year. We do, last year, I don't know if you guys know, we changed it up a little bit. Panko Pool, we are open 7 days a week during the week, every day during the day, and Dakin we are as well. But at nighttime, Panko's open Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Dakin's open Tuesday and Thursday nights, so they're not both open on a certain night. And that actually has helped out with numbers at Dakin Pool. It really has. If Panko's closed tonight, on a Thursday night, Dakin is open. So there's more people that go there, and that really helps for numbers. And it helps because we don't need to staff one of the pools at night, which is working out. This year, not sure if you guys know, we actually had a capital improvement plan to resurface inside of Dakin Pool. It actually took place and it happened 2 weeks before we opened the pool this year. So the winning bid was Affordable Pools out of New Hampshire. And they bid at $145,000 it took, and they came in a couple weeks before. They dug up all the cement plaster and checked for cracks. There were some cracks in the pool, so we actually had to do an addendum to fix the cracks. They stapled 300 feet of cracks throughout the pool, and so that's going to be good for a very, very long time. They put tile around. If any of you guys haven't been there, go look. It's very different. It looks wonderful inside the pool. There's tile along the whole perimeter of the pool. New depth marker signs, and there's tile down at the bottom of the pool. It's in the law, you actually have to do this between the 3 foot and the 6 foot. So when people are swimming underneath, they know that they're going more toward the deep end. So there's a line of tile under there. And then they did their thing, and they fixed and replastered the whole entire pool.
Was some of that via the Friends of Dakin that
No,
did a presentation last year?
yeah, no, that was all our budgeted
Parks,
capital improvement. Yes, yeah. So that happened and it looks wonderful, and we're running just like normal, but with new plaster in the pool. So couple things that I wanted just to put out there too about lifeguards, just so people are listening to, for next year, we reimburse 100% of certifications. So every year we're looking for new people. If people want to take their lifeguard and during the year, even though it's not summertime, they keep the receipt, they work for us next summer, we will reimburse them. Even if they do it in a different state, it doesn't matter. We will reimburse them if they keep the receipt. So that has worked out very well. We are offering swim lessons this year. We are only doing one session of swim lessons. A lot of the staff have put their availability for the summer, and the college students are leaving early. A lot of the kids go to an overnight camp. There are, high school kids, there's overnight camps in the local area, and they do that. So we're only able to offer one swimming lessons, which is 3 weeks long. It's going on right now. It filled up immediately. We're full with swim lessons. And it's working great. So since we've opened, we've only been open 13 days so far. And just to give you guys just a couple numbers, Dakin has actually superseded any of its numbers compared to the last year's. So right now, their daily average in the last 13 days is 39 patrons, which is more than previous years. And Panko right now, their daily average is 256 patrons a day. So
Hot temperatures.
very nice summer so far. Last year it rained a lot and we didn't see any of these numbers, but Panko Pool, when it was hot last year, we saw
Those
huge
numbers at Panko include the Fairmount Day Camp?
No.
Walk across the street.
Actually, that does not.
It's interesting.
That does
This is a
not.
ton
So
of-
there is, you're right, there is a lot more. So it doesn't include our summer camp kids. Fairmount has a
Century 21.
Century 21 that we let come in.
What is it called?
It doesn't include the
21st century. That's what
21st
sorry.
century.
Amenities.
And we have other camps in the local area, like Wednesday we had Corinth Recreation. Monday we had Steuben Daycare.
And why aren't those numbers included?
I did include them. We process those differently. Most of those camps, like 21st Century, are summer camps. We don't charge them. So this is only patrons. That's, so. Good point.
So is there a max number of people that can enter at a time?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes, yes.
so they know that day that there's 50 kids coming from day camp, so they only let so many people.
Well,
less than
those
50
times are
in.
not during these times, when I'm saying
Oh, really?
156, so like,
Huh.
except 21st Century, they do go in, that's the only ones, and they
Yeah,
have like
it's like
30.
20 kids, yeah,
Yeah,
20 or
20 to 30 kids, but all the other ones are in the morning when we are not open to the public. Like our
Okay,
summer
yep.
camps, over 100 something kids, all these daycares, and they are all, I have them come in the morning. So, not during the public, because it can get really full when you have a summer camp of, 75 kids and, 7 counselors. It's so much easier to have 2 kids with a parent. It's a lot to have that during the public, so we host them in the mornings
And separate them from the general population.
and separate them, yes, yeah. So that's what any questions about the pools? We are planning on closing, it's around August 24th, but sometimes a lot of the high school students have, soccer and football, and then the college kids are gone to school. So this is tentative. We'd like to try to stay open till then, but we'll let you know in August when it gets closer. Any questions?
I have the kids at the pool at Dakin yesterday. They wanted me to ask about the slide.
Yes, yep. Just, what you
Was it
said
like
earlier
a safety
today.
thing or
Yeah,
something?
it is. Yeah, it's just the new.
Current standards don't allow us to have the slide
Yeah,
anymore.
that's what I,
Current standards.
that's what I assumed, yes. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
And there hasn't been any pullback from it. A lot of parents are actually.
They
liking
still had a
that.
great time.
Yes.
Got over it real quick.
Yes.
When you say current standards,
What's interesting about aquatics, state to state. Some states, so it has to do with the depth, the water depth. So the slide was over there for years. And we just kind of ran it out in the deep end. Well, now essentially a slide needs its own dedicated run out area at the end of the slide. For years, we had the slide over there and it was fine, but current standards have changed that don't allow for that anymore.
Yeah.
So you have to have essentially a dedicated slide area. So you look at Panko, we've got a dedicated slide pool, although it's one big pool, dedicated slide pool, where the water is separated by a buoy line.
Exactly. And the slide I was looking at needed a smaller area than Panko. But it still needed a 12 by 12 area, and we just don't have it.
Some kids, some in the deep end could be surprised by another kid torpedoing out the end of the slide. Might generate some other questions.
anything else on pools? I got a question about something else. Oh. No, I'll do that after the waterfront season.
So just a couple quick things for you all. A box that we can finally check after I don't know how many years. If you go down the waterfront the last couple of days, you'll see a float out all by itself. Just beyond dock 3. That's actually a moored float out there. We're actually starting floating moorings out there. So once we get some of the issues, the kinks worked out. A company called Down East Docks has placed that for us. We'll now have the ability to add dock space out there, and hopefully with what we're using for the dock, we can connect pieces to create slips out there in the river. I think if you've been with this group before, getting the channel and the river changed and a mooring field established literally is an act of Congress. You have to have Congress approve that along with Army Corps. We completed that process a couple of years ago and finally have started the process of creating a mooring field out there. So we're working through some of the issues. The river, we talked about before, and you sound like we found out. The current out there is pretty strong, and the company was in the water Wednesday with a diver trying to navigate the moorings out into the river. Missed the tide, which creates a whole lot of a set of issues, and so it was a bit of a challenge. Wednesday and, Tuesday and Wednesday. And tomorrow they're coming back to try and finish up and correct some of the minor issues we have down there, so.
I know there used to be moorings there years and years ago.
Many years
They all
ago,
were
right.
Removed.
Yeah, that field's been removed, and when American Cruise Line started coming up here the first time, the channel got designated because they were coming further upstream than they are now. So this redesignation of the channel, essentially narrowed the channel, from the corner of the bulkhead, essentially where dock 5 is now, where American Cruise Line docks now, up to the Chamberlain Bridge. Chamberlain Bridge is kind of the default, head of the tide, so kind of the end of the channel. Kind of excited, been at this a long time. American Cruise Line started coming up. They had their first cruise here last week. We tried something different down there a couple of weeks ago with the main micro artisans. They did essentially a vendor fair down there. More of an evening event on the waterfront, went very well. They're got another one Monday night. And it's kind of just creating that activity down there between the food trucks. Now the extended trail down 395. This artisan marketplace went much better than they anticipated. They want to come back and they want to do another one in the fall. So just a lot of activity going on down there that's been beneficial.
I went to that event. It was well laid out and
Yeah.
a lot of vendors. I thought it was very good.
Yeah, they're pretty excited. They're gonna come back for another one. We made some minor adjustments to their plan. You'll see a similar closure with Railroad and Front Street, like we do for early morning and the concerts are in town. So that'll help them with some traffic flow and that sort of thing. If you haven't been down the food vendors, we've had some new ones. Some of the old standbys are back. But that seemed to be going very well. The 4th of July fireworks went well. Waterfront was packed. So it's been busy down there.
Didn't go well for me, but.
Well.
Yeah.
You learned a lesson, huh?
Won't be that good.
That's all I got.
So I've been noticing on Facebook, you guys have really been pushing the canoeing program there. For the youth.
Yeah.
How's the interest in that? Has it started or?
That's not until,
That's not for a little bit. There are some interest right now.
So is that August or?
Oh, yeah, you're putting me on the spot for that one. Zach put that together, Zach Napsey, our programmer. So,
they're guided trips with, yeah, Jeff Fahey.
Yeah, it's out in Hornet, right?
Yes.
Herman Pond, out in Herman Pond, yeah. And yeah, as Deb alluded to, Zach and Jeff kind of came up with that together. Jeff's done some programming with us before. So yeah, it's something different.
and so you probably saw through our Facebook that we're offering a free movie night tomorrow night. So let everybody know we're doing Wonka, co-sponsored by Waterfront Concerts. And actually, Bangor PD will be there also with their some of their dogs and
It's gonna be on the waterfront.
it's at the pavilion, yes. At
Oh, really?
the am-
Inside?
Yep.
Oh,
at
wow.
At the
Very
amphitheater.
cool.
Yep, so we're opening doors, it says 6, we're probably gonna open at 5:45, because the movie does start at 6:30. We found last year that it was just packed. We had a lot more than expected, and so I think hopefully this year there's even more. We had over 800 people show up last year. So we're hoping for a couple thousand to come in.
We do it on the lawn. Up at the top of the, top of the venues.
That, is that specified in the, it just says don't bring chairs, but does it say, do people know they're gonna be sitting on the ground? Because my assumption was that I'd be sitting in a chair, in like a
Was it
seat.
really?
Yeah, 'cause
Okay.
it doesn't say that.
Okay,
We do it on the lawn, so this, if you've been at the screens that they use for concerts for the lawn,
Okay.
we show the movie on the 2 screens on the lawn. They open the lawn concession.
it does say bring a blanket to sit on,
It does?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see
It-
that part.
yeah.
Yeah, and I was wondering about the no food or drinks. So do you know what, are they selling popcorn? Are they, like, what are they selling?
Like chicken nuggets.
Typical.
French
Yeah,
fries,
typical concession stuff.
yeah, for
Oh.
dinner if you want, and they're gonna have more than one lane open this year.
Yeah, they get a
'cause-
little overwhelmed last year.
Yeah, the line was down. you know, down the whole lawn, across the fence, and it was, yeah, nobody
you think-
expected that.
What is who is the no food or drink? Who's establishing that? Like what?
For us, we can't go in with food or drink.
Right,
That's-
is it just because they wanna make money off it?
They're
Or
co-sponsoring
it's
the
like-
movie with us, and so
Okay.
they're allowing people to go purchase food.
Yeah, okay,
And, yeah, there's different types of food though, and I can, you know, honestly, I can talk to them and do another email blast on what type of food is there, because that might help families.
it might.
And
yeah.
parents.
absolutely.
Will the,
Yeah.
will the
Yeah.
reusable, or the refillable stations be available? for
Mhm.
you? So you can bring an empty water bottle?
Mhm.
And it's the northwest entrance is open. Yeah, that's the one on Main Street.
Yeah, it's good to know about the water bottles and the food, for sure.
Yeah. I'll do that. I'll look into that, so parents know.
It's really nice that they had, was LLB, to put the water.
Yep.
That's
That'll be
really
one of
nice
the
that they can do
sponsors,
that.
it's the LLB lawn.
So we're showing Wonka. So, I mean,
Any contingency for bad weather?
no, it's supposed to be nice.
So there's your contingency.
Things, Ryan?
Movie? No movie.
It is. Yeah.
Dry or wet.
You're right.
Well, that happened last year where it was close. This year it's supposed to be nice, but last year we actually sent it out and then send it back on. We're on again. We're on. Yeah, it got nice.
Way off topic, but I wanted to ask you, how's the big plan coming? For the,
So our next step,
not to
Is-
dive way into it. but-
yeah, no, good question. We've had a couple of workshops with the school committee. We're moving forward. They need to formally vote as a committee at a regular meeting to essentially transfer the property. So the plan is to do that in August.
May I cut in as the chair?
You
For
and
the
I,
people at home who don't know what we're talking about, we're talking about the rec center.
yes,
Yeah,
good point.
Yeah.
That's why you're the chair.
Yeah.
It's for the feasibility study, the next step for the Park and Rec Center in Sawyer Ranch. So to answer your question, yes.
And the designs are still in the works
Yep.
and what have you, yeah.
Yeah. So it's plugging along, moving
Budget.
forward.
Budget still in the work, yeah.
And has the school committee indicated that they will vote to transfer the
That's
property?
indication we have.
Yes.
That's indication we have. That's the feedback that we have heard through both workshops.
And feedback I'm getting from people I know is that they're excited.
Yeah, no, we've had some, and I'm sure you all heard the same thing. I get asked a lot. Get asked a lot. There's still a perception that Griffin Road is quote out there, but as I think we've talked about many times. You look at a larger mosaic of the city, it's actually in the middle of the city geographically, so. It's exciting stuff, exciting stuff.
I was actually. I'm not usually out there much and I've been lately a little bit and I was actually shocked on the amount of traffic on Griffin Road. I never thought that would be that much. So that's actually really good.
Good question.
And when people ask us,
Across the road.
when will we be able to walk in the doors and use the place, like hypothetically? What is the answer to that?
The answer to that typically is a 4 to 5 year project.
That's what I thought, yeah.
I mean, that's just, I mean, you know what you're doing. So
Let's
it's
take what, 18 months to build?
yeah, hard to say, hard to say. I hesitate to assign those kind of
Yeah.
values, this kind of thing, because
But that's a good ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people wanna know, like,
Yeah.
will my kids be able to use that?
Right.
And when, you know,
Typically
just,
that's 4 to
they
5
wanna
years.
imagine themselves there
Yeah.
and.
There's steps and right now, the next step is what he
Yeah.
said. And after that, then, okay, let's think about the next step.
As long as we can keep Sawyer going until.
so we're gonna do some work in Sawyer this summer. To hopefully continue to accomplish that. Companies coming back to look at the mats, assess some of the. Continue to assess some of the listing we have of the dashers, that was much better than it has been the last 3 or 4 years.
Way better.
Yeah, so. It's a 30-year-old facility with 20-year-old equipment, so. 20-year equipment, I should say.
A
We're getting-
little more bubble gum, a little more duct tape.
Anything else? When do we want to meet again?
Pick a day with good weather, Ryan, because I'm really disappointed that we didn't get our field trip tonight.
No, one of us did.
Oh, no, is that what happened?
Oh.
I turned the handle at 5:14 and it was locked. I don't look at my email. So it's fine.
Okay,
My bad.
Whatever. It's cool.
that's why you're late.
We can do, if I may. So, whenever we can do outside of here, initially, we talked about the golf course for this one, but, Northern Forest is up there today, big tournament, and then, remember guest was this weekend, so this was a tough week to do anything there, but I throw that out with thought, or we can try the waterfront again.
Say, try the waterfront.
Okay, it's up to you.
Because there'll be more moorings in, right?
We won't see any more, we've done well to get as far as we did, I mean, it was a big accomplishment and wanted to try what we've got out there, so. The float that you see out there now can accommodate at least 2 boats, if not, depending on how long they're, at least a couple more, so, but we can go there if you want to. For sure.
Well, what do you guys want?
I won't be here. I will not. be.
What's the date
We're looking at what, the 8th?
of August?
Mhm.
So it'll be 2 people not here.
I
I'm
can't- I will
tentative.
be out of the.
We can,
We can push it to the next week.
Or just September, because August is.
it's up to you all, if you want to skip
Yeah.
August, go September, that's an option too. I'll let you all
I can do
decide.
the 8th, I can do the 8th or the 15th of August. Or skip August and go to September, so
I'm checking to see if I can do the 15th.
I'll be away end of August, but I can do.
I can do the
8th and
15th.
15th.
Not to change the course, but the 15th is better for me and just to
I'm good with that.
And then
the
Deb
8th is
can
a better.
maybe give us an update of
It's my
things
son's
getting
birthday.
ready for the fall.
Okay,
Yeah,
I can.
good day.
yeah, first thing I saw on my calendar, I was like, ooh, well, I'm gonna make that one.
15th it is,
15th, oh, where?
we can decide that now, or use the waterfront and then
I'll say waterfront's fine.
waterfront, okay,
Harbor Master's office?
yes,
Well, hopefully a picnic table outside.
Oh, yeah,
yes, we'll go outside.
That
excellent.
office isn't very big.
Originally, I didn't think I was gonna be here and I didn't even know it was gonna be at the Harbor Master's office. And then I got your email today. I was like, we need to change of venue. What?
It all worked out.
Yeah.
We adjourned, sir?
That's it. We are adjourned.
I wanna say personally too, that the Judson thing